Welcome back to my channel. I am Brenda and this is Reading by Myshelf. So this is the start of a reading vlog in which I have picked up Kingdoms of Death. Needless to say, I am super excited to delve back into this world by Christopher Ruocchio. This is book 4 in the Sun Eater series, in case you're not familiar and you haven't watched any of my other videos where I continuously gush about the magnificence and the epic writing that Christopher Ruocchio has created in this series. Mild spoilers going forward. Similar to all of the other books in the series, there is a time jump between the last book and this one. We are again following Hadrian as he has been kind of sent into exile by the Emperor after the Chantry has attempted to murder him, for lack of a better word. And so they call upon him again to bail them out in a scenario with the Sealson, who are the aliens in this book. And he, of course, is successful. And then the Emperor decides to send him on another mission. So I don't want to give away too much as, you know, this is not book 1, so that would definitely be spoilers. But this book... And okay, so I'm about 150 pages in at this point, which is not very far. So Christopher Ruocchio usually kind of recaps in a very natural way in the start of all of each of his books. So he will, through the action, bring up reminders as to important points as to what has come before. And so this is kind of where he is about done doing that, and you're kind of getting into the action and the meat of this book. So I am finding a lot of commentary regarding the written word, you know, truth versus reality. And this is based upon, you know, religious texts or philosophical texts that humans tend to put a lot of stock in. And he is discussing in a roundabout way the fallacy in that and the issue in that. As you know, things change, people change, and he has brought Hadrian to this kind of censored society where they have a very limited language, and the only responses that these higher up class people are allowed to use come straight from this book. It's called the Laureate, and their philosophy is that everything that needs to be said has already been said in this book, and so the only responses that they provide are quotes from this book. So as you may guess, I mean, this is problematic. I mean, how are you supposed to change? How are society supposed to change and humanity supposed to change when you are limited to conversations from a book that was written ages ago? How are you supposed to progress? So as most of his books, there's a lot of kind of philosophical discussions and meanderings, and most of it goes on inside of Hadrian's head, but also you can see it happening within these different races, these different planets that he visits. You know, there's a lot of discussion around humanity and the differences between, and Christopher Ruocchio is so good at creating these different races and just giving them their own distinct voices and actions and backgrounds and everything. I mean, they are just so well done, so well thought out and recognized. There's no way that you can go into these without believing it. I mean, it's so realistic and detailed. So needless to say, I am loving this already, tabbing as I go. And yeah, I can't wait to continue on, and I will keep you posted, and yay! Man, this book is brutal. This book is so dark and bleak and traumatic. I really had no idea what I was getting into when I started this. I mean, obviously this is Christopher Rocchio. I mean, he always provides such a wild ride every time you read one of his books. Hazel's here. So this book really delves into the overall theme of humanity and what it means to be human and how humans handle tough things like death and grief and even your own self and identity. And he really breaks down, and this book is all about breaking Hadrian down into nothing. So he is testing his will and his perseverance, and it's really kind of taking a deeper look at the hubris that he has kind of cultivated throughout his time so far. You know, he's struggled, certainly, but never to this degree. And I think that this really breaks him down, and I'm hoping that it is to build him back up, to make him ultimately a better person. Not that he wasn't a good person before, but he certainly got to his head. You could tell, you know, there were times when he certainly felt that his identity was better than, that he deserved certain recognition, and he did. I mean, he did earn that, but there is something to be said for being humble, and he had certainly lost some of that, I think, and this really dismantles him. But, you know, in the start you can see that Rocchio is almost evaluating or exploring how humans in general deal with such topics, whether that is through faith or friends and family or your own identity, these things that you kind of build up to lean on. And he, in one point in this book, he says that the Catholic religion is a cult, at least from the perspective of this far off future. And I found that extremely interesting because, you know, I've mentioned before, I have a love for the religion in books and the discussions surrounding religion. And so this was a very profound look at his ideas and what the future ideas, because, you know, you have these doctrines, these books, these texts that kind of dictate other people's lives. And how old are these texts? You know, at some point, are they outdated? Do they need to be reevaluated, revisited, and made more current? Because that's kind of what happens when Hadrian goes to the Commonwealth. At the very start of this book, he encounters this society that is very censored, and they are only allowed to speak through words that have been written in this book that they hold in regard. And at least that's how it seems on the surface. But as things are revealed, you come to find out that that is more the leadership, that it's almost a cult, and that they are trying to subdue the inhabitants of this planet, and that the surface is deceiving. And so I think that he is really commenting on that, saying how much faith and belief and how much of that can you put into a text that is so old, so outdated. The ideas are born from a time long ago, and things change, people change, humanity changes. As the story progresses and Hadrian ends up he ends up as a prisoner, and the horrific things that he is subjected to, I mean, it is brutal and just violent. These aliens are feral and ruthless, and Hadrian gets the full taste of what that means. And I think it allows for him to gain a new perspective, like I said, on himself and his future. It makes him realize that he's not untouchable, and that the people that follow him, ultimately have almost made him into their faith. Instead of a religion, they believe in him. And he struggles with that. He struggles with that as a part of his identity because he almost doesn't want that responsibility. And who can blame him when you have the weight of your entire civilization on your shoulders? Oh, man. Yeah, so this just really delves into the vanity of man. So Hadrian, he has to choose. Is he choosing the greater good or his own internal desires? And there's certainly trigger warnings in this for suicidal thoughts and ideation. I cannot recommend these books enough. I have not come across anything that can hold a candle to them yet. And they are so savage and ominous and disturbing, but they have so much to say. Like he delves into so many themes and topics, and just the plot and the storyline is so original and unique and well told. The prose is magical, really just encompassing. You just feel so engrossed in these stories. I cannot wait to see where Hadrian goes from here into the end of the series. I both can't wait and dread the end. I will certainly absolutely be rereading this entire series from start to finish once I complete all the books, and you should too. Go read them. Editing me here to say that watching back my footage on my reading vlog for Kingdoms of Death, I really feel like I should have said so much more and that I left out so much. But I think that comes down to the fact that I was really trying to not make it spoilery. I think I should have just went ahead and made it a spoilery vlog. I mean, it is book 4 in the series. Anyway, I really just wanted to convey that I think Kingdoms of Death was really just a masterpiece. Rocchio just pushes the edges. He really pushes the edges. He commands the reader as he is dismantling his main character. He really just explores the depth, the good and the bad of humanity, and he puts it all on the table. He leaves nothing to the imagination. I think he knows how to explore these dark topics in such a way that it feels so philosophical and deep. And I was blown away by this book. I think that The Howling Dark was my favorite in that Hadrian really explores. He really comes to understand what he's capable of, and he learns a lot in that book. But and all of his books are dark to some degree, so I'm not saying that there was no darkness or evilness in that book, but it was certainly a much more positive book for Hadrian. Whereas this book is so dark and so bleak, and it really kind of, while The Howling Dark defined Hadrian, Kingdoms of Death breaks him down and kind of wipes his slate clean. I feel like everything that he was before is no more. I feel like he is a new man. He has to be. There's no way that he comes away from this experience unscathed and unaltered. But that being said, as dark as it was, the ending, it broke my heart, but made my heart happy too. And I cried and I cheered. It's really funny that a book can make you so emotional. I mean, it really just tore at my heartstrings. If you've read the book, you know why. It was great. It was epic. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Like, I know there's some spoilers in here, just a little bit. but I don't want to do a full spoilery. I don't know. I feel like this book is so much better going into it completely just blind and just knowing that it's dark, and to maybe put your walls up a little bit. I didn't realize. There are some really great revelations in this book as well, and intriguing and set up for the next books to come. As usual, Christopher Rocchio certainly knows how to leave us hanging on the edge of our seats. So I will leave it at that and see you again soon. Hey guys, I would really love to talk to you about Kingdoms of Death in the comments below. I know this is a very popular and beloved series, and I'm sure that there are plenty of opinions and perspectives that you may want to share. If there's something that I missed in this little reading wrap-up, please feel free to share that in the comments below as well. Let's keep it respectful and nice, and I would love for you to like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more. I post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. See you again soon. Catholicism. Oh my God, I cannot say that word. I don't know what we think we are.